Hey, it's Carla, passionate here of promoting organ donations because my brother has made a huge difference in my life. In the last video, I was sharing how difficult it was for me to overcome my divorce, and especially because I had a kid. My daughter was 6 years old, and I had gone through divorce, and I had promised myself that I would never do that to my children. Um, and I wasn't able to keep my promise. But I was also hurting very much because it was a loss. It was I was grieving. It was very hard. It was 20 years of relationship. I thought he was my best friend. Um, and turned out that it was all very different. So I was pretty depressed for around 6 months. I asked my doctor if I could take something for the depression because I was just underneath the earth. I felt like I couldn't stand up. I went to work, brought my daughter home, didn't want to go out. There are people that go out, party, drink. I couldn't drink, and I just didn't want to go partying. I just wanted to be alone. I wanted the days to go by as fast as they could because this was killing me. And just the idea of my daughter's father being with somebody else was a nightmare, a daily one. But little by little, time is my best friend. And after around 6 months, when the psychologist friend of mine told me, hey, he is not your kidney. You don't need him to live. Stand up and start walking. And I did. I started feeling better, and I started to smile again, and to laugh a little bit. And after around 2 months after that, maybe 8 months after he left, I was chatting with a friend. It was a messenger on Facebook. And we were chatting, and she said, hey, you want to go out? And I said, no, thanks, but no, I'm good. No, I'm not telling you to come out to go out with me. I'm telling you to go out with my cousin. He's a physician. He's a researcher. He just finished his second master's in Seattle. He did his first one in Germany, in Europe, in several places. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, but no, thank you. He's divorced but has no kids. I was like, okay, but no, still no. And then she wrote again and said, hey, he's inviting you on Facebook, so accept him. And turns out that she was doing exactly the same thing with him. She was invite my friend, and on my side, she was accept him, accept him. So she was our Cupid. So I did, and we started chatting like 2 hours or something. And I was also chatting with my cousin, 8 years older than me. And she said, so how are things going? I was like, no, we were just chatting. But then he had seen my pictures. I had just published my book, and I saw a picture of him like in a marathon in Seattle. I think it was Seattle. And so he said if I wanted to go out on a date with him. So I was like, thank God we were just writing, because I wrote to my cousin and I told her what was happening. She said, "So go out." And I said, "No, I mean, it's a blind date." And she said, "Well, you're not going to marry the guy. Just go out. You really have to put yourself out there. Just stuck at home. Like, come on, more than half a year." So I did. I accepted. And he picked me up and he said that he wanted to take me to a Thai restaurant. And I said, "Oh, there's one nearby." And he said, "No, I want to take you one. I want to take you to one like it was like 45 minutes away." I was like, "What? What am I going to talk to him 45 minutes in the car, back and forth, and plus the restaurant?" I was like, "Oh my god!" So he took me where he wanted to take me, which I liked. He wasn't a pushover, um, and we had a great time. We talked and talked, but I had a pretty full bag, and I tried to kind of scare him away. I told him, "Yes, because I have a kidney transplant." And he said, "Oh." And I take a lot of immunosuppressants. I take mycophenolate, I take tacrolimus, I take prednisone, and those lower your immune system. And he was like, "Oh, oh yeah, yeah, I know that tacrolimus. Yeah, yeah, I know that mycophenolate." There's no what there was like no way to scare him away, to scare him off. And so then I said, "Yeah, and I have a daughter, and she was a surrogate. My mom gave birth to her." And then he looked at me and said, "Oh, he didn't have kids. Would you be willing to have another kid?" And I was like, "Sure, sure." Not in me, of course. I mean, I am not putting in jeopardy my brother's kidney. That's no way. No, but maybe if like another surrogate. And I said, "Oh, another surrogate? Sure. Yeah, yeah, I'd do that." So now he tells me that he wanted kids, and if I had said no, as much as he liked me, he would have had to just find another relationship because he really wanted kids. So we kept on dating, and but that night he said he invited me to his birthday. It was like I don't know, maybe a week after that, and he invited me to his birthday, and I said that I wasn't going to go because I barely knew him, and his friends were going to be there. It was going to be awkward, and I really didn't want to go out. So we kept on dating, and the next time he invited me to the movies, and I said, "Okay, I'll go to the movies if I pay for the tickets," and that's that's that. And he said, "Sure, you can pay for the tickets, and I'll pay for the popcorn and our drinks and whatever we're gonna have." Because see, in my head, I didn't want to owe him anything. And we continued dating for around like maybe 2 months, and then he asked me if I wanted to be his girlfriend, and I said no. I'm I'm scared that I'm going to be hurt again, and I'm just scared. And he said, "Let's give it a shot, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I think we deserve a shot." And so I accepted, and since that day, we've been together. I started to get used to a healthy relationship, one that I hadn't been in. No more screaming, no more yelling, No more fighting, constant fighting. And at the beginning, I was waiting for the adrenaline. I was like, hey, when is this starting? And it just never came. And he wanted to know if I would get used to this calmness and this just a normal relationship. And I did. And I started to enjoy it more and more each day. And we came to getting to know each other and finding out how similar we were. And then there was Danny. I had told him since day one that my Danny was my priority number one. And he said, I know, and I don't mind being your number two. And that said a lot. I felt protected with him, secure. He had my back like nobody else had had my back before. He was a physician, so he understood perfectly how medications could affect me. He understood my labs. So it was like my perfect complement. It was my perfect partner to be with. And we got married a couple of years later, and he helped me raise my Danny. And that's how our married life began, and we were able to have our daughter. I'll tell you about her in the next video. Thanks for watching.